Tonight we're going to read Little Miss Splendid. And I was interested in this book to some extent because of the book we read last time, which was, wait a minute, what was the name of the book we read last time? It was Little Miss, this is embarrassing that I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Well, at any rate, whichever one it was, I really liked her house. Remember, she had pink trees and a nice little house like in the woods. And
Little Miss Dottie.
Little Miss Dottie, that was it, okay. So Anna remembered, I didn't remember it, but Anna remembered. It was Little Miss Dottie, and she had bluegrass and pink trees and a nice little cottage in the woods. Well, now this is Little Miss Splendid, and Little Miss Splendid house is somewhat different. I'll show you the house in the very beginning. See, her house is not a little cottage in the woods. It's a grander house, I guess. Oh boy, are those fireworks? I'm hearing fireworks, okay. The dog Bentley had to go out, and he does not like fireworks. Okay. Nothing was too good for Little Miss Splendid. Let's see, where do I put this book? She lived in a huge house surrounded by large gardens. She slept in an enormous bed with silk sheets and silk pillowcases. That sounds comfortable. She bathed in a gold bath, my goodness, and she dined off silver plates. Oh, she was splendid. At least she thought so. Little Miss Splendid thought a lot of herself. In fact, she thought about little else. Oh boy, I'm not sure that that's the way we ought to be. Anyway, one day, while she was taking a stroll around her gardens, Little Miss Splendid came upon a small door in one of the walls. She had never noticed it before. I wonder what's through here, she thought, and opening the door, she stepped through. There she is with a small door, and there's Little Miss Splendid. And I'll go back and show you the house again, Little Miss Splendid. See the fancy house that she lives in? But I don't see the gardens. It seems like if there were gardens, there'd be flowers and shrubs and things, but whatever. Okay. So she found herself, when she went through this door, she found herself on a road. Along came Mr. Small, out for a short walk. Good morning, he remarked politely, raising his hat. Little Miss Splendid stuck her nose even higher in the air and walked past him as if he weren't there. Not very nice. What a common little man, she thought to herself. There she is with her nose in the air. And there's Mr. Small. He is kind of small, isn't he? She came to a bus stop. Mr. Happy and Mr. Daydream were waiting for a bus into town. Hello, grinned Mr. Happy. Who are you? I, she replied, am Splendid. Oh, said Mr. Happy. Okay, there's Mr. Happy and Mr. Daydream. Okay. I think Mr. Daydream must be the blue fella, but I don't know that. Are you going to catch the bus? Asked Mr. Daydream. Me, she said. The bus? Never. I, she went on, have never ever in the whole of my life traveled on a bus. An expression of distaste crossed her face. You have to sit next to people on buses, she went on, and that would never do. Oh, said Mr. Happy, and scratched his head. He couldn't think of anything to say. Little Miss Splendid walked off with her nose very high in the air. There he is, scratching his head. Little Miss Splendid arrived in town. She looked at herself in all the shop windows as she walked down the street. I must say, she thought to herself, I do look absolutely splendid. And then something caught her eye. There she is, admiring herself in the windows. There, in the middle of the window of the hat shop, was a hat. Not just a hat, it was a hat and a half. The most magnificent, sumptuous, desirable, gorgeous, spectacular, amazing, splendid hat you've ever seen. Okay, there it is. Gee, I don't know whether it's all those things or not, but at any rate, Miss Splendid, I guess, thought so. Little Miss Splendid marched into the shop. She snapped her fingers, and the saleslady hurried to her side. "Good morning, madam," the saleslady said. Little Miss Splendid ignored her. "Can I help you?" "I," announced Little Miss Splendid, "wish to try on the hat in the window." Here's the saleslady. We're having lots of fireworks go off. Little Miss Splendid looked at herself in the mirror. "Magnificent," she breathed. "I look absolutely magnificent." "I'll take it," she announced. "But don't you want to know how much it cost?" asked the saleslady. "Cost?" queried Little Miss Splendid loftily. "I never discuss money matters. Send me the bill." And she marched out of the shop. She didn't pay for the hat. Little Miss Splendid stood on the pavement and held up her hand. "Taxi!" she announced in a loud, important voice. A taxi stopped. "Take me home," she ordered, and went to get in, but of course she couldn't. Her new hat was much too large to fit through the taxi door. "Driver," she said, "you should purchase yourself a larger taxi. In the meantime," she went on, "I shall walk." The taxi driver grinned. Little Miss Splendid walked along. "Perhaps it's better to walk," she thought to herself, "so that everyone has a chance to admire my magnificent new hat." But then it happened. There she is, walking along. Ooh, what's going to happen, I wonder? It started to rain. Wow, there she is. And the trouble was, the more it started to rain, the more it rained. And the trouble was, the more it rained, the more Little Miss Splendid got wet. And the trouble was, the wetter she got, the wetter her hat got. Oh, what a sorry sight. Don't you agree? Poor Little Miss Splendid. The bus, on its return journey from town, passed her. Mr. Happy and Mr. Daydream, on their way home, was sitting in the dry, looked out of the window. "I say," remarked Mr. Happy, looking out at the bedraggled figure trudging along in the street, "what a splendid sight!" And Mr. Daydream giggled. "Splendid," he agreed. I think they're enjoying themselves. She does look bedraggled, doesn't she? Little Miss Splendid, looking anything but splendid, arrived home. However, after a hot bath and her cold bath, and after a boiled egg and a gold egg cup eaten with a silver spoon, she felt much better. There she is, in her gold tub. In fact, later on, she spent an extremely pleasant evening looking at, well, what do you think she spent all evening looking at? No, not television. Well, I think we don't know yet, do we? Herself. in the mirror. Oh my goodness, that was the last page. She's looking at herself in the mirror, and that must be what we saw on the previous page. There she is, sitting, looking at herself in the mirror. Wow, what a little lady. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I don't think she learned much of a lesson in that story. Okay. Bye-bye.